Ravi tightened the straps of his worn backpack and looked toward the horizon. The sun was just beginning to dip behind the distant hills, casting a warm, golden light across the village. For weeks, he had helped the villagers repair their homes, fix broken tools, and even protect their livestock from wild animals. Now, it was time to leave. He had always been a wanderer, someone who preferred the quiet roads beyond human settlements to the daily life of a village. He imagined long stretches of untouched land, forests filled with the songs of birds, and rivers that ran clear and cold. Peace, he thought, was waiting for him out there. As he walked down the dirt path leading away from the village, he heard a soft sound behind him. At first he thought it was a small animal rustling in the bushes, but then a tiny voice called out in a strange accent of broken human words, "Please, help, save my sister." Ravi froze. His hand went instinctively to the small knife at his belt, but his eyes scanned the path. At first he saw nothing, but then a small figure stepped out from the shadows of the trees. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin seemed almost translucent, and her eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. Her hands were delicate, her frame tiny, and she seemed terrified to be so close. Ravi knelt down slowly. Who are you?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. "I am Luma," she said, her voice trembling. "My sister, she is in danger. Please save her." Ravi's brow furrowed. He had encountered many strange things in the forests before, from wild animals to odd weather phenomena, but never anything like this. An alien child, standing in front of him, begging for help. He considered turning away, telling her that he had no idea how to deal with creatures from another world, but something about the fear in her glowing eyes made his heart tighten. "What happened?" he asked. Luma took a hesitant step closer. "The patrol, they took her." "The big ones, they experiments. I don't know why, but I must save her. Please, human, help me." Ravi swallowed hard. He had always believed that humans could face the unknown with courage and wit. Perhaps this was the ultimate test. He nodded slowly, a decision forming in his mind. "All right, I'll help. Tell me everything you know." Luma's eyes brightened slightly, and she led him deeper into the edge of the forest, away from the path. As they walked, she explained that her sister, Sara, had been captured by an alien patrol that came from the crystalline canyons beyond the forest. These aliens were known to take beings they considered useful for experiments. Luma had been hiding, hoping someone, anyone, would come to help. Ravi listened carefully. The situation was dangerous, far beyond any human fight he had faced before. The technology the aliens used, according to Luma, was far more advanced than anything humans had ever built. Their patrols were fast, precise, and capable of tracking almost any movement. Ravi felt a twinge of fear but reminded himself of human resilience. Humans had faced impossible odds throughout history, and ingenuity often proved stronger than brute power. By the time night fully fell, they had reached a small clearing where Luma stopped. "Sara is near," she whispered, pointing toward faint lights glowing in the distance. "The patrol, they are strong, but you are human, clever. You can help." Ravi studied the lights. The crystalline structures shimmered faintly, reflecting the moonlight. He could see figures moving methodically within the enclosure, creatures larger than humans, armored in strange, reflective suits. The sight sent a chill down his spine. He had faced dangerous animals before, even hostile humans, but this was something new, something foreign and unpredictable. He knelt beside Luma. "We need a plan," he said quietly. "We can't just rush in. We need to understand how they move, their patterns, and any weaknesses." Luma nodded, her small face set with determination. Together, they began to watch the alien patrols from the shadows. Ravi noticed patterns quickly. The patrols moved in predictable rotations, always leaving a small gap near one corner of the enclosure. There were areas where the light from their crystalline structures didn't reach fully, creating shadows. Ravi whispered his observations to Luma, and she confirmed them, adding details about what the aliens seemed to fear and avoid. For hours they watched, planning their next move. Ravi realized that while the aliens had strength and technology, they lacked the flexibility and creativity that humans possessed. Small human ingenuity, careful observation, and quick thinking could overcome superior force. When dawn began to break, casting a soft pink light across the landscape, Ravi and Luma moved closer. Using the shadows as cover, they approached the enclosure. Ravi noticed a faint shimmer in the barrier that seemed weaker at one point, and he gestured to Luma to stay low. They crawled silently, hearts pounding, until they reached the spot he had observed. Ravi examined the shimmer. It was a force field of some kind, but not fully stable. He retrieved a small metal rod from his backpack and pressed it against the barrier. To his relief, the field flickered slightly as if his intuition about its weakness was correct. He turned to Luma. "Stay behind me," he whispered. "When I give the signal, we run through quickly." Luma's tiny hand gripped his arm. Ravi felt a surge of protectiveness. He had faced danger many times, but the stakes felt different now. This was not a fight for survival alone. It was a fight for someone innocent, someone who depended entirely on him. He waited, watching the patrols. As expected, they rotated away from the weaker point. Ravi took a deep breath. "Now," he whispered, and they dashed forward. The barrier shimmered and sparked as they passed through, but they made it inside. Inside the enclosure, the crystalline structures reflected light in every direction, making the environment dazzling but disorienting. Ravi crouched low, moving carefully toward a faint figure curled inside a containment field. Sara. She was smaller than Luma, fragile, and her eyes widened with fear when she saw them. Ravi knelt beside her. "I'm here to take you home," he said gently. "Stay close to me." Sora hesitated, her fear evident, but something in Ravi's calm confidence reassured her. Slowly she allowed him to guide her out of the containment. As they moved, the patrols began to notice their absence. Alarms sounded, high-pitched and strange, sending vibrations through the crystalline floor. Figures moved swiftly toward them. Ravi whispered, "Run, now." They sprinted toward the weaker point in the barrier. Luma ran beside them, her small form moving surprisingly fast despite the panic. Ravi led the way, relying on human agility and instinct to navigate the crystalline maze. Sparks flew as they passed near alien devices, but Ravi's quick thinking kept them just out of harm's way. Finally, they reached the barrier. Ravi pressed the metal rod again, the field flickering weakly. With a combined effort, they burst through, emerging into the open forest. The night air was cool and refreshing after the oppressive heat and light of the enclosure. They didn't stop running until the sounds of the patrols faded into the distance. Ravi collapsed against a tree, breathing heavily. Luma and Sara huddled beside him, trembling but safe. Ravi looked up at the stars, feeling a sense of pride and relief. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and tonight was no different. Through courage, observation, and determination, they had overcome danger far beyond their size and strength. "We did it," Luma whispered, her voice filled with awe. Ravi smiled, ruffling her hair gently. "Yes, we did, but this is just the beginning. There may be more patrols, more dangers. We need to keep moving, stay hidden until we are completely safe." The three of them moved silently through the forest, the bond between them growing stronger with every step. Ravi thought about the world beyond the village, the countless unknowns waiting to be faced. He realized that no matter how vast and dangerous the universe seemed, humans had something unique: courage, intelligence, and the will to protect those who could not protect themselves. By the time the first rays of morning touched the treetops, they had found a small hidden spot near a stream. Ravi allowed them to rest while he kept watch. The girls slept, exhausted but safe for the moment. Ravi stared at the flowing water, thinking about what lay ahead. The journey was far from over, and the alien patrols would not give up easily. But for now, humanity had proven itself once more. He knew that whatever challenges came next, they would face them together. Humans had always been survivors, thinkers, and heroes in the making. And tonight, under the alien stars, Ravi, Luma, and Sara had begun a story of courage, hope, and the unstoppable spirit of humanity. As the sun rose higher, painting the forest in warm light, Ravi felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had set out to leave the village seeking peace, but fate had given him something greater, a chance to save lives, to teach bravery, and to show that humans could rise to any challenge, no matter how strange or frightening. And with that thought, he prepared for the next stage of their journey, ready to face whatever the universe would throw at them. Ravi watched the forest carefully, his eyes scanning every shadow and every movement. The first light of dawn filtered through the treetops, painting the ground in soft gold. Luma and Sara were resting nearby, huddled together, but he could not afford to relax. The alien patrols were still searching, and their crystalline technology made them relentless. He had learned quickly that these aliens did not act like humans. They were precise, organized, and dangerous. Yet Ravi also knew humans had something the aliens could never fully predict: cleverness and courage. He crouched low, thinking through the plan. The goal was simple: get Sara and Luma back to the safety of the village. But the path was anything but simple. They could not go back the way they had come. The aliens would be waiting. He needed to find a new route, one that used the forest, the terrain, and his own knowledge of human survival to their advantage. "We need to move before they organize another search," Ravi whispered to Luma, who had awakened and was brushing sleep from her glowing eyes. "We can hide in the rocks and streams. The aliens do not understand forests like humans do. They rely too much on technology." Luma nodded, her small hands clutching his arm. Sara, still frightened but beginning to trust him, followed closely. Ravi led them along a narrow trail, moving carefully to avoid making noise. Every crack of a branch beneath his boots sent a shiver through him, but he kept his mind focused. Fear could be useful, keeping him alert, but it could not control him. Humans had survived countless dangers by thinking clearly in moments of panic, and he intended to use that advantage now. The forest grew denser as they progressed, the trees twisting into strange shapes and the undergrowth thickening. Ravi used his survival skills to guide them, ducking under branches and stepping lightly over roots. He pointed out natural hazards and instructed the girls on how to move quietly. Every step was calculated, every pause purposeful. Hours passed, and Ravi noticed something odd. Small machines, almost invisible, hovered just above the treetops. The aliens were using drones to search the area, scanning for heat signatures and movement. Ravi crouched behind a large boulder, his mind working rapidly. Humans could be clever, humans could adapt. If he could distract the drones, they might pass unnoticed. He collected some branches and stones, arranging them carefully to create small disturbances in the forest floor. When a drone approached, he triggered the trap, causing a small flurry of movement in a different area. The drone focused on the disturbance, allowing Ravi, Luma, and Sara to slip past undetected. The girls gasped quietly, amazed by the ingenuity of humans. Ravi smiled, whispering, "Sometimes brains matter more than strength." As they continued, Ravi realized that the alien patrols were becoming more organized. They had likely recovered from the initial chaos of the rescue and were now coordinating in ways humans might struggle to predict. But he also noticed something the aliens had overlooked. Their technology was powerful but rigid. They moved in patterns, relied on predictable systems, and did not expect improvisation. Humans, on the other hand, thrived on adapting quickly. Ravi felt a surge of confidence. If they stayed clever and alert, they could outsmart the aliens. The terrain began to change. The forest gave way to a rocky canyon, its walls rising steeply on either side. A river cut through the canyon, its waters moving swiftly and reflecting the light of the sun. Ravi knew this terrain would be dangerous, but it also offered opportunities. The rocks provided cover, and the river could mask their movements from alien sensors. He led the girls down toward the river, moving carefully along the bank. The sound of rushing water was loud enough to cover their small noises. Luma clung to him, whispering softly, "Are we safe now?" Ravi shook his head. "Not yet, but we have an advantage. The river can hide us if we stay low and move quickly." They moved silently, using the riverbank as a shield. Occasionally, Ravi would pause, observing the canyon walls, noting any patrols or machines in the distance. His knowledge of human strategy and observation allowed him to predict alien movements, guiding the girls safely along the path. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed through the canyon. A patrol drone had spotted movement upstream. Ravi's heart raced. There was no time to hide. He scanned the river and saw a narrow, shallow section where they could cross without being fully exposed. "Follow me," he shouted, and they plunged into the cold water. The river pushed against them, but Ravi's strength and determination kept them moving. Sora struggled at first, but Ravi held her close, guiding her through the current. By the time they reached the far side, they were exhausted but still safe. They crouched behind large boulders, gasping for breath. Ravi knew they could not stay in one place too long. The patrol would soon discover the disturbance in the river and begin searching again. Humans survived by moving forward, adapting to danger, and never giving up. He was determined to prove it again. As they advanced along the canyon, Ravi noticed signs of alien technology embedded in the rock, small sensors, and devices that likely monitored movement. Using branches and stones, he created diversions, triggering some devices to malfunction and disabling others with quick improvisation. Luma watched closely, her admiration growing. "Humans are amazing," she whispered. Ravi smiled faintly. "We survive by thinking, by never giving up." They reached a section of the canyon where the walls narrowed, forming a natural tunnel. Ravi led them inside, using the darkness as cover. The air was cooler here, and the echo of the river diminished. He could hear the faint hum of alien machines outside, their sensors sweeping the canyon. This was their opportunity. Ravi instructed Luma and Sora to stay low and follow his lead. Using rocks and uneven terrain, he created a path that allowed them to move silently. Occasionally, he would throw a small stone to distract the sensors, allowing them to slip past. The girls were amazed by his quick thinking and adaptability. Ravi knew that every move had to be precise. One mistake could alert the aliens and endanger them all. Hours passed and the canyon opened into a small valley. The sunlight bathed the area in a warm glow, and for a moment, Ravi allowed himself to relax. The immediate danger seemed to have passed and the girls were safe, for now. But he knew the alien patrols would not give up easily. Humans had faced stronger and smarter enemies before, and they would have to continue relying on wit, courage, and teamwork to survive. Ravi decided they needed a plan for the next stage of their journey. They could not simply run. They had to outsmart the patrols completely. He examined the surrounding terrain and noticed an old, abandoned mine nearby. The entrance was hidden by overgrown vegetation, and the tunnels extended deep underground. It would provide shelter and a way to observe the patrols from a safe distance. He led the girls to the mine, moving carefully to avoid detection. Once inside, they found a small chamber where they could rest and plan. The walls were rough and damp, but it was safe. Ravi sat down, catching his breath, and looked at the girls. "We are not safe yet," he said, "but we have an advantage. The mine can hide us, and from here we can observe and plan our next move." Luma's eyes shone with determination. "We can do it." "We must save the others who are still in danger," Ravi nodded. "Yes, and we will. Humans survive because we never give up and we always find a way. No matter how strong or advanced the enemy is, we can outthink them." For the next few days they lived in the mine, moving only at night and observing the patrols. Ravi taught the girls how to stay silent, how to watch for patterns, and how to anticipate danger. Sora learned quickly, her fear gradually replaced by confidence. Luma, small but brave, became a keen observer, helping Ravi plan their movements. One night, Ravi noticed something unusual. The patrols were concentrating on a different part of the canyon, leaving a path less guarded. It was the opportunity they had been waiting for. Using everything they had learned, Ravi devised a plan. They would use the shadows, the river, and the terrain to move undetected and return to the village. When the moment came, they moved silently through the canyon. Every step was calculated, every pause deliberate. They used diversions to draw patrols away, hidden paths to avoid detection, and quick thinking to navigate unexpected obstacles. The girls followed closely, trusting Ravi completely. Finally, after days of careful travel, they reached the outskirts of the village. Ravi slowed, ensuring no patrols were nearby. The village lay quiet, peaceful, and safe. Luma and Sora's eyes lit up with relief. They had made it. Ravi smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride. Humans had faced impossible odds, yet their courage, intelligence, and determination had prevailed. The girls ran ahead to the safety of the villagers, their voices calling out in joy. Ravi followed slowly, knowing that this was a victory not just for them, but for the human spirit. As the sun rose higher, painting the village in golden light, Ravi reflected on the journey. The aliens had been strong and advanced, but humans had something far greater: the will to protect, the ability to adapt, and the courage to face the unknown. Luma and Sora had learned it firsthand, and now the village had witnessed it too. Ravi realized that the universe was full of challenges, dangers, and mysteries. But he also knew that humans were capable of overcoming anything, no matter how strange or frightening. With courage, intelligence, and heart, they could face the stars and protect those who could not protect themselves. And with that thought, Ravi felt a sense of peace. The girls were safe, the village was secure, and humanity had once again proven that no matter the odds, they could rise, adapt, and triumph. He knew that their story was only one of many, but it was a story of hope, bravery, and the unstoppable spirit of humans. As he watched Luma and Sora rejoin their families, Ravi smiled. The journey had been hard, dangerous, and uncertain, but it had also been a testament to the best qualities of humanity. Courage, ingenuity, and compassion had carried them through, and they had emerged victorious. The universe was vast and full of unknowns, but humans were ready, always ready.